The gender gap in engineering is a very real and complex problem. In the UK, less than 10% of the engineering field is occupied by women, and in Australia, a little over 14% of engineering graduates are women. These statistics are problematic because they speak of a society where men and women do not yet enjoy equal opportunities. Though it is important to note that equal opportunities do not mean equal outcomes. There are still many unfair factors that are at least partially causing the gender gap in engineering. Some of the most prevalent themes found from research and interviews are thus: women fear that they may need to sacrifice their careers if they choose to have children, as the current workplace culture is not one that offers support to women when they have children, but rather one of preemptive discrimination regarding that choice. Women too often need to prove themselves much more than their male peers in order to overcome workplace biases and receive promotions. Because women are underrepresented in engineering, they struggle to find female mentors and role models. This includes a negative cycle of young girls not being inspired by women to enter engineering, as they cannot identify with prevalent figures in the field and therefore feel unwelcome in that field.
Women are also told they are less capable than men at maths and science-related work, and engineering is still seen as a male field. This discourages many girls from even considering the field as a possible career choice. This false idea of women being less capable than men also leads to them being discriminated against and not being respected as equals in the workplace. They often lack support in entering the field and may also lack the support of their peers and superiors once they have become engineers. This makes it a very daunting undertaking for a woman to become an engineer. Though we as engineering students are not yet capable of doing much to change workplace culture, we can tackle the issue of representation and support. Having spoken to Robin Farrar from Women in Tech ZA, we have seen how a support structure and media representation of women in STEM can uplift women and help them make a success out of their careers. But how does one then go about increasing the interest among young females? If the overall interest can be increased, it can yield an increase in the total number of women pursuing an engineering profession. A proposed idea is that universities can host a workshop specifically catered to high school girls.
Workshops are not uncommon, but are often catered towards a general engineering group and thus does not always capture the attention of the female students. To battle this problem, workshops set up specifically for female students between the grades of 8 to 12 will help to increase the drive of young women to become engineers. A mainly female team of engineering students will be employed to set up and run the workshops, which will help create an environment where women can be inspired by other women and thereby tackle the issue of lack of female engineering role models. Included in the workshops will be experienced female engineers as speakers to help inspire young women to pursue the engineering field. Introducing high school girls to women who have succeeded in the engineering field will further help present them with possible role models. The second part to our proposed solution includes a tutoring service hosted for young women to try and improve their interest as well as overall performance in subjects that are still erroneously perceived as more suited to men, such as mathematics, physical science, computer science, and technical drawings. Mostly female engineering students will be hosting the tutorial sessions. These can be hosted over holidays as part of a summer school type course covering some items in the school curriculum, as well as introducing new concepts like programming to girls who do not take computer science. The tutorship can also be offered on a weekly basis to provide consistent support to high school girls in the school curriculum.
The main objective of the tutoring service will be to support girls in their studies and encourage them to consider, as well as be more prepared for, studies in engineering and other science-related fields. It will also allow further inspiration and encouragement by women to girls to show them that they are just as capable as, if not more than, male students. The inclusion of some male engineering students in the tutorship will show that men and women can work together and treat each other with respect in the male-dominated field of engineering. This solution offers great scalability as it can be done by multiple institutes across the country. The size of the workshop can also be scaled to any size necessary in order to reach as many people as possible. NWU engineering faculty recently hosted a similar workshop as the one proposed. It was focused on bridging the gender gap with the aim of empowering women in the engineering field. The workshop was a great success and received a lot of positive feedback from the women who had attended it. The solution is not unique to a South African context, but including the tutoring service will have the added benefit of helping to counter some of the issues experienced with public education in South Africa.
The workshops presented by female engineers in the industry as well as female and male engineering students will give young females a broader spectrum of knowledge for them to get a kickstart at the different academic components in engineering. They will be introduced to engineering as a career, and they will be able to see that women can be successful in pursuing it. This will empower young girls to make informed decisions on what careers they'd like to follow, as well as make those decisions based on their own passions and not a false, preconceived idea of what they can and cannot do. When the women in engineering find unity and represent the bridge of the gender gap, more young females will become inspired to become engineers. Higher workplace diversity brings an increase in productivity and profit, and ideally we would all like to live in a society with equal opportunities. We hope that we will therefore be able to, as engineering students, play a major role in helping bridge the gender gap in engineering.